Lead your bulletin. Police have yet to identify any suspect in the murder of 14-year-old Lukhona Fose. The little girl, or rather the teenage girl's mutilated body was discovered in an open field in Roodepoort in Johannesburg yesterday. Police are appealing to anyone with information to come forward. The teenager's family says Fose was last seen with her friends yesterday afternoon. Newzroom Afrika's Nqobile Madlala tracking that story for us. Nqobile, another week and yet another story of gender-based violence. In the introduction, I mistakenly said the little girl, but I'm sure that that is what she was to her family, just 14 years old. What do we know about the last time they saw her alive?
Well, indeed, a very young one, Michelle, for the family. And what we know from the family is that they did explain to us that on the day she was with her friends when she left home, she was a person that was leaving to sort of go sit with her friends and sort of and enjoy, I suppose, those moments that they would have. But then she never came back home, and as a result, they went looking for her the next day. Unfortunately, they wouldn't find her, and they would then later on hear of a case of somebody that has been found in an open field, and when they got there, they then could identify her as the child that they were looking for the entire day. So it's very difficult, of course, for the family to have to see that further, to also have to deal with it, especially because we had seen and heard from the SAPS that her body was mutilated, which is even more devastating from the people that were there first on the scene. We heard the lady that explained to us that she was there first on the scene, that the lady that saw her first, the elderly, couldn't even stand because of the state that they saw her in. Now, we know that the police are still investigating. In fact, some of them have come here for statements, and we are expecting that the top brass will also be here. But further beyond that, we've got some of the family's neighbors that are here to also support the family and sort of give them that support that they need. And I want to bring in now my guests. So if you could just perhaps, as a community member, tell us what kind of support are you giving the family at this point?
Well, ngiqale ngibulele kuwe sisi, silapha thina njengabahlali ukuzonikeza i-support kwi-family kwi-current situation esikuyo njengamanje njengabahlali bala eWard 127 VD Sol Plach. So since izolo sikhona sinabo kwi-scene, sebe sinabo lapho banikeza support as family. So siphatheke kabi njengabahlali bala Sol Plach, because these things, I mean, in a daily basis, I think some few months back, there was a protest march to our Roodepoort police station to intervene to the current situation, where actually our demand was saying must be a mobile police station to avoid the situation as fanana sikuyo today. But sila manje ukuzosupporta ifamily. And sicela bonke abantu abasemagunyeni, because our interest ukuthi kutholakale ababantu benze ubuhlungu obufana nalobu benzakele. So sicela ukuthi ke bonke labantu abasemagunyeni kumele ba-intervene, ba-investigate, kuthola abantu bebubi, bajongane nomthetho.
Siyabonga kakhulu. We know that you also come from the foundation that has always been looking at this, looking at what happened to Tsegofatse Pule. How are you going to support the family?
Thank you so much, Nqo. The very same family of Sol Plach here at Durban Deep is the very same community that assisted us as a family and as a community of Marylands to find Tsego, and they had continuously supported us throughout till the last day. So what we're going to do is to do the very same thing. We're going to be offering support legally and moral support. They can count on us to be there for them when they go to court, and when just to make sure that we're behind them, really behind them, even when the perpetrators are caught.
Thank you very much for speaking to us. Well, Michelle, we know that the Department of Basic Education is also here, so I'm going to ask Steve to come just a bit closer to explain to us the kind of supports that the department is going to be providing, obviously because this is such an important time, especially for this young one. This family has a child that is also at school who's a sister or a sibling to the one that has passed away.
Yes, we are really saddened as a department. We did meet with the family just to assure them of our support. As for today, the psycho support started at the school. So we said from the school they need to come here, the family. the sister was also at the Letu in the same school, which is quite sad. And because she was, I mean, she had the courage to come to school to write because we are busy with assessments. But because the principal realized that the child looks like she's not well, then that's when this news were broken to the principal. We were not aware that this is our child, but we started to check in the area and whether is this not our child, and it was confirmed that this is one of our children. We will support them. They did indicate that they might be pairing probably next week, not in here in Gauteng. But we have a sister department as well, social development. During time like this, they normally come closer. We also have good Samaritans that will normally come closer to us. But as a department, we don't bury. But we make sure that we support, and people that are willing to assist us, they will normally come. So that's why we decided to say, let's come to the family, reassure them of our support.
Perhaps if you can just highlight to us, what school was she in, what grade was she in, and what kind of learner was she?
No, the family did indicate that this was actually a very obedient and disciplined children. She was at the Letu, which doing grade 8. And, taking from the family, you can tell, because they did assure us that, look, we're amazed that how can we not see the child coming back, because they were with the child in the morning on Saturday, and unfortunately the child did not sleep at home. And when they started searching on Sunday with the community, then they were shocked to be shown the child in that state, which is quite sad.
All right. Thank you very much for speaking to us. That is Steve Mabona. So Michelle, everybody here is pulling together to assist the family, as you can see behind me. There's a lot of support that we're seeing, some of the community leaders coming in, bringing in. So there are various parties, of course, that have come in, but also various departments that have also come in to assist. Steve Mabona is just one of those departments that also will be assisting with support, especially social support for the family.
So, Nqobile, just to hone in on what Steve Mabona had to say there on behalf of the Education Department, she was last seen on Saturday, and then the search started on Sunday. Is that correct? She was last seen with her friends on Saturday, and the search started yesterday.
Yes, so what happened, Michelle, is that when we arrived here, this was on a Sunday, we were told that they found her body in the afternoon. And this is when somebody who was in the open field, who was really just picking up recycling material, stumbled across the body. And that's when she then called out for the community to come out. This was on Sunday. But the family had last seen her on Saturday in the afternoon when she left with some of her friends. So they thought that she was just around the vicinity. So they didn't really look to check where she was. But when they realized that she didn't sleep over, like what Steve Mabona was saying, that's when they started getting worried, because this is an incident that wouldn't be necessary, usually would occur in the area, in her household. So they then started looking. In fact, the granny would then call Malume, who is the spokesperson of the family, to please go around the community checking and ask these areas where she would potentially go to. And that's when Malume was looking around, and they heard that somebody had discovered a body in the open field, and that's when they went there. And when they got there, they found out that it is in fact the 14-year-old Lukhona that was there. And then the process then started. But by the time they arrived, there were already police officers that were on the scene.
And have police spoken to the friends she was with on Saturday, to your knowledge, Nqobile?
Well, so far, from yesterday, for example, we knew that the police first priority was to ensure that she was taken away from the open field. So we could see some of the videos that were shared by the community of that taking place. But then we also understand that the investigations are still ongoing. So we understand that they are investigating a case of murder. And they are, of course, asking for everyone that has information to provide that information. But what we also know is that as part of the investigation, minutes to also speak to some of those people that may have last seen her. And we understand that a little earlier on there were some of the police officers that came to the house. So one would assume that they have started that search, that investigation, speaking to various people that were around the 14-year-old. But when we were here last night as well, the family was also trying to get to the bottom of what really happened. In fact, they had one of the little of her peers that were here that he was trying to explain just before we could do an interview. He was trying to explain to the family what happened or when last he saw her. So that in itself as well, the family were just seeking answers, as much as the police are also still investigating what took place.